Welcome to another episode of Tech Lounge, a podcast where we discuss the ever-changing world of technology.
Right.
And now your host, Dan Duran.
All right. We are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Duran, and I'm the host of the Tech Lounge. Here we discuss topics related to business, leadership, technology, and today, of course, cybersecurity. Yes. Welcome to the show. Episode number 15. Can you believe this? Andrew.
Wow. Woo, woo. 15.
Woo.
That's crazy.
All right, that's it. Remote work and cybersecurity. 10 tips you need to know to protect your home network, right? And just remember, we stream live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're also on podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn Radio. Man, we're everywhere. iHeartRadio, Podbean. So make sure you use the following hashtag, Dan Duran, and watch us live every Friday. So now, sit back and relax. This is the Tech Lounge. I need sound. I need some sound, like sound effects.
Soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. Next time. So this week's show is very, very important. It's all about making sure you are protected at home, especially nowadays. You, the audience, our audience, because we love you. We have this show. Right. And in our virtual studio, we have a great special guest for the first time here in the Tech Lounge, Andrew Swart. He's the technical sales manager for Rhino.io. Hello, Andrew. How are you? It's so nice to have you on the show.
Hey, Dan. I'm doing really well. I'm really excited to be here.
Nice.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your passion. Well, let me just introduce the next guest, right? Because he's always here. My co-host extraordinaire. The Rock of Rhino, the superstar, the man himself.
All right, I'm blushing.
Andrew Summerton.
Yeah, great. Hey, everybody. Great to be here, Dan. As always, Andrew, wonderful to have you.
Thank
Absolutely. Make sure you visit the website, Rhino.io, if you want to learn about cybersecurity and all the stuff that we do. Really good stuff related to cybersecurity. And Andrew, it's always a privilege to have you on the show every Friday, just so you know. I love you, buddy.
Back at you.
There
Big
you
hearts. Back at you.
So let's go into the backstory. Andrew, what do you have today?
Yeah, no, a really exciting show, guys, and really wonderful to have Andrew with us. But the reason this show is so important is, as everybody should be aware, and if you're not, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, October. But the third week of this month, it's all about you. It's about working from home. It's about protecting yourself. It's about understanding what you can do to make sure that you put all the right measures in place. And having someone like Andrew on today is just going to, help bring more information to you guys and help hopefully give you the insight that you need to help you better protect yourself. And that's why we're here today. Again, it's all about you.
Yeah, and so that's you. If you're one of those workers from home, you want to make sure you're not causing problems for your company. But if you're a business owner or a manager, you want to make sure that you're not having these vulnerabilities, anything that might come into your network cause problems for you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Well said, Andrew. So Andrew, double whammy here. Eh? We have two Andrews on the show, first time ever. Right.
Nice.
So I'm going to be Andrew S, Andrew Z, right?
I'll do my best to be quiet as much as I possibly can so we don't get confused. That's not like me normally.
No, that's not like you, Andrew.
I'll do my best, Andrew.
All right. So Andrew.
Yeah, lots of love. I'll share that real quick, guys. As we always start at the beginning of our show, it's always about the people who are in the audience watching. And we just first and foremost want to thank you all for joining. Aura, we have hello. Let's see if we have some more that we can pop up real quick so everybody can see. Diego. Hello. He's in the Halloween mood almost. It looks like a Halloween. Hello.
Yeah, it's like British. Hello.
Thanks, Diego, for coming out, buddy. Kevin, hello, guys. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Boris, hello. We got a lot of hellos. I love it. And Tamara, hi, guys. Looking forward to the show. Thanks, Tamara. Happy that you're here again. Alexis, hi. Hey, Alexis. And Adrian, hey, guys. Or hello, guys. Andrea, hello. Beautiful. So we have lots of people in the house and more people joining us. Hey, Gabriella, hello back.
We got our
Thanks so
top
much.
fans.
Thanks so much for joining, guys.
Oh, can you go back to
Oh, wait a
Stephanie?
second. I want to see something else. Stephanie.
Andrew's kids are watching.
I love it.
That's right.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Jake, Elizabeth, Heather Joy, good to see you.
So happy that you're able to join us.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's dive right into securing your home network. We have 10 pro tips we want to share with you. So let's start with the first one. Multi-factor authentication. So Andrew Swart, can you tell us what that is and
Yeah,
why
so-
is it so important?
Yeah, that's right. So multi-factor authentication. Authentication just means you need to authenticate who you are. So you need to make sure, like, your computer systems need to make sure that if you're logging in, you're actually you. So often you use a password. You'll have a username and a password, but you know how easy it is for bad guys to just guess passwords or just to go through millions of passwords and try them all and get into your systems. So you want multi-factor authentication. One factor is your password. Another factor is something else about you, something maybe that you have. So if you have some kind of a token or some other method to authenticate yourself, it's much more difficult. It's orders of magnitude more difficult to try and break a login that's got two or more factors of authentication.
Exactly. So the basic premise is that for authentication to happen, and this is just a little tidbit for you, there's three components, right? So the first one, and I think Andrew alluded to this, is something you know. The second one is something you have. And the third one is something you are. And let me explain what they mean, right? So passwords is something that you know, right? So you know your password, but then if you get that password stolen, then it's a problem because somebody else is going to know it. So multi-factor authentication targets the other factors, or the other two components, something you have or something you are. So if you have, for example, Google Authenticator, that's something you have because you only have it on your phone and nobody else has it. So you enter your password and then you have to authenticate with something you have. And something you are is, for example, your Windows Hello. So your bio recognition on your phone, for example. So you look at your phone and then it reads your facial and it has facial recognition, and then it's because it's something you are, right? So things like your thumbprint and other things like that. Veins, for example. There's a lot of ways that you can palm print systems to get into it. So those are as long as you have something that you know, and then the one of the other two, then you're good for authentication and using multi-factor authentication. So yeah, that's the tip for today. Yeah. This second one, what do you think about this, Andrew Somerton? I think it's insightful. It's my passion. Like cybersecurity is that's what I do, right? So
Oh, I know.
learn.
I mean, and it's cool. And what's really neat actually about multi-factor authentication. Oh my goodness, I can't even say it.
Authentication.
Thank you. There you go. Is a lot of the new technologies out there have the facial recognition, have the thumbprint recognition. So with the password, etc. So don't be scared to sign up for that, guys. When you do get
Yes.
your new phones and your new stuff, it's really important to have.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's a good tip because almost every application out there, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your bank account, it has some sort of multi-factor authentication. Turn it on.
Yeah.
Make sure you go in there and turn it on and use it.
Mm-hmm.
That way your account is unhackable, right?
Absolutely.
So very key.
And,
All right,
and again, if you're the business owner, you want to make sure that you're putting some kind of multi-factor authentication in place, that all your employees don't rely on the multi-factor authentication for the employee to get into their computer. Put something in place
yes.
to prevent them from getting files off of your system.
For sure.
Amen, brother. Absolutely. So if you're a business owner and you have 365, for example, it's very easy to actually go into your backend, your portal, and then turn on the multi-factor authentication for everybody. Same if you are in using your G Suite, right? G Suite also has the multi-factor authentication, and then you can let the user use their own method for authenticating, because in my case, for example, I love Google Authenticator, and that's what I use, right? So if an application or something gives me a choice, I'm always going to choose Google Authenticator as opposed to something else, right? So like a YubiKey or like stuff like that. So if you let the user choose their own two-factor authentication, just turn it on the back end, right?
Nice.
So it works, right?
I was going to say, guys, we may have a question here. Let's see what the question is before we jump into number 2 from Diego. Hey, guys, what tools should I have to collaborate with my team remotely? And I think you just answered that, Dan, or I mean, you were kind of talking about it.
Yeah, usually secure tools, right? So this is very important, Diego. I think it's a really good question. When you're sharing confidential information, here at Big Wire, at Rhino Cybersecurity, we always encrypt everything that has to do with credentials, passwords, and stuff like that using GPG, right? PGP, pretty good privacy. It's an encryption method that you can encrypt data and send it over any way you want, right? So the person gets the encrypted material, and then they can decrypt it and read the password and stuff like that. So that can be sent over Slack. It can be sent in any other way that you want, right? So for people that are using 365, use Teams, right? So for people that are using G Suite, then you can use obviously the Hangouts application, but just make sure that you don't send credentials and confidential information over any type of messenger, especially the ones that are public, like Facebook Messenger and even WhatsApp and like clear text, because you never know that somebody might be in there, like in checking out that. And of course, the privacy concern is a huge one also, right? So I hope that answered the questions. Do you have anything else, Andrews?
Yeah, one of my favorites is Signal. I like Signal because it's secure, and it's not owned by any. It's not pawned by any government. It's I like it. It's secure.
Signal. Okay. I never heard of it. I'll check it out right after this. I mean, of course, this is a tech show, right? So it's all about technology.
It's like Telegram. It's like Telegram, but in my mind, it's more secure.
Wow. Telegram is huge in Europe, right? And pretty much everywhere else, but not in North America. And even in WhatsApp, we don't use it here. In Latin America, everybody uses WhatsApp, but here it's just text message, right? So that's our main method of communication. Text messages, it's probably one of the worst if you are going to send like encrypted and passwords and stuff like that, right? So just so you know, it's a tough world out there, man. Tough world.
Got to protect yourself. There's no question. Number 2, Gladstone.
Gladstone is working the dials on the back room.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gladstone, as always, bud.
Kudos to you, buddy.
Yeah, do not use public Wi-Fi networks. My background is in critical infrastructure cybersecurity, and you don't want to have Wi-Fi available for other people to log in. You want to make sure that everything is locked down. So don't trust public Wi-Fi networks.
So Andrew, I shouldn't go to Starbucks, set up my computer, and go into the Starbucks.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
Starbucks. That's not a bad plug.
Yeah, if you have to do that, make sure you've got a VPN on your machine and that you're accessing the internet through that VPN.
Yeah, that's another one of the points at the very end. So Andrew, and any of the Andrews here, so Andrew times 2. What do you mean by public? Does that mean like the public library? I shouldn't use the Wi-Fi at the public library? Or what does it mean public?
It means a Wi-Fi network that's open to the public. So something that you can see. Like most library networks are public.
So
a lot of
Andrew, to that point, a lot of people who maybe aren't as familiar with protecting themselves, so they'll go, but they don't want to spend the money for example, let's say they're on their phone, they want to spend the money for their data, right? So they go to a public Wi-Fi service because it saves their data. That's the mindset. But so if that's the case, and again, maybe just talk about what they should be thinking about. If they're going to do that, that's okay. Because you want to be able to save your data, obviously, save yourself some money. So, but what measures should they have in place so they are protected, as what you're alluding to?
Yeah, no, it's not really okay.
And this is, that's exactly my point, right? Because in the
you can't just do it. Yeah, you got
Right.
you gotta have a VPN in place, or you gotta have some other protections, or you gotta have a data plan that allows you to not use public Wi-Fi networks. If your employees are using their phones or using their computers for accessing your data, or if and maybe they take it away and then they use it for personal use somewhere else, you need to make sure that they're not using public Wi-Fi networks,
Nice.
and that's your responsibility as a business owner.
Let me give you a little secret. There's a lot of VPNs that are free, that they have a version of the VPN that is free. So Proton VPN, for example, has a free account that you can use in the personal level, right? So basically what VPN is a virtual, and we'll get to that, is a virtual private network, right? And what it does is it encrypts your data from end to end, right? So from the server to the endpoint. And you want to make sure that the data is encrypted, because it's so easy for a hacker, for example, to go into a coffee shop and then create a network using his computer and name it Starbucks. And it's a free network. And then people go into the coffee shop and they are like, okay, look, let me look for the Starbucks. Oh, weird. I see 2 Starbucks in here. I'm going to choose this one. And they choose Starbucks, and they're actually connecting to the hacker's computer, right? So even if you use a VPN and you're connecting to the hacker's computer, the hacker won't be able to see anything because everything is encrypted, right? So, and there are free solutions out there. I mean, they're not free. There is different packages, but there is the freemium that they have. But it doesn't mean that you're going to have access to your on-premise resources. That's another type of VPN that we're going to talk about, right? So, for protecting your network in your office. So, yeah, those are kind of keys. Right?
Absolutely. I'm glad you guys addressed that, because it is critical. A lot of people do that. They go in and they use the free Wi-Fi, and if they don't know what they're doing or what they're connecting to, or as you alluded to, Dan, the 2 different Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever the terminology is, they could be tapping into somebody's computer, and if you're not protected, then you're potentially at very high risk. So,
yes, absolutely.
Eduardo has a question here, guys. How do you protect against information breach?
Oh,
That's a pretty broad question.
That's a loaded question.
We don't have enough hours in the day right now, but we can maybe just very surface level, Dan, if you want to.
Yeah, the first thing you need to do is just disconnect your computer from the network, right? That's what there's a lot of. There's a lot of memes on that subject, like just unplug it from the network. But no, there's so many things. One of them, of course, is the dual authentication, and I think this whole show is about protecting against information breach, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to go through all of the questions. And before we go into the next question, I just want I want to give a big shout out. So actually, I reconnected with one of my friends, one of my old friends. I hadn't seen him in probably 3 or 4 years. So Oscar Guzman, if you're there, he said he was going to be on the show. If you're there, just send us a shout out. And it's crazy. I grew up with this guy, man.
Nice.
And it's unbelievable. Since I know him since I came to Canada and when I was 16 years old. And Andrew, Oscar, if you're there, send a shout out, man. Nice. All right. So what's next question or next pro tip? Where do you want to take this?
Maybe we'll go to the next pro tip.
Let's get through some of these pro tips, because we're doing like one every 10 minutes. We got to speed it up a little bit if we're going to touch
Whoa.
We'll get it. Andrew's very much on a schedule. I like it. So number 3, Andrew, you want to read it?
Yeah. Update your computer controls. Basically, keep your computers updated and patched, and make sure that there's nothing, no vulnerabilities that all the bad guys know about, because once those patches come out, then everybody, the good guys and the bad guys, they all know what those vulnerabilities are, and they very quickly start looking for them across the internet and starting to exploit them. So you make sure that whenever there's an update, you patch your computer.
What are some of the controls? Right, so you're talking about automated patching and doing those updates, those pesky little updates that you have to do every week, because Microsoft, as well as we know, they come up with updates pretty much every Tuesday, right? And then they push it into the public, and sometimes it takes forever to update your computer. But what are some other computer controls? Did you know any other?
Are you talking about like other layers within like controlling security?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got your firewalls, you've got your antivirus, you've got, you,
Antivirus, yeah, for your computer, yes.
yeah, you've got, of course, your endpoint detection and response, very similar to antivirus. Um, you've got you may have web application firewalls for your websites. You may have, um, like a SIM or some way to detect
Hey,
everything that's
Andrew,
coming in
Andrew,
on the network.
I'm going to jump in there. I think Dan's being a little sneaky here. He's got something in his mind. I can see it. It's got a twinkle in his eye. He wants to think if you're going to miss something or not. I think Dan, instead of having Andrew, very good points every one of those.
Yeah.
So what's the one you want to get to, Dan?
Well, you know what? If you're using Windows Home, then it's kind of hard. But if you're using Pro, you can encrypt your hard drive, right, or your SSD. So if somebody steals your computer and takes out the hard drive, all they get is just gibberish. They get all the data encrypted. Because it's very easy actually. If somebody, a hacker steals a computer and takes the hard drive, connects the hard drive to a USB port, and they can actually see all the information in there. So unless it's encrypted, right? So you can encrypt it like that. The other thing is simple things. Make sure there is your computer is password protected, obviously, and you have a strong password. But not only that, but if you go to the bathroom, even if you're at home, if you go to the bathroom, the computer will lock after 2 minutes, right? So if you leave it unlocked, then chances are that if you get it stolen, somebody breaks into your computer, they can take it and easily connect to your computer. Things like that. I usually have a screensaver, right? Like a very simple screensaver on my computer. As soon as I get up, go to the bathroom or whatever, 2 minutes, the screensaver starts going on, and then I need to enter my password when I get in. So things like that. I was thinking very easy things that you can do, right? So at home, sometimes it's good. Every computer, every laptop, and every desktop has a little groove where you can actually lock it to your desktop, right? I know if somebody robs your house or enters your home, it's not that hard, but you're just making it a little harder for the hackers to steal your computer. So things like that, those are all security controls for your computer, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Anyway,
That's
great tips, Andrew. I just knew, I saw Dan's eyes twinkling. He had
Yeah.
to say there. We have a lot of questions, but let's get to number 4, number 5, maybe, then we'll dive into a couple more of the questions. Gladstone, that's good. Beautiful.
Number 4.
Inform your IT.
Yes. Right. So you're working from home, and then you see something happening. That's basically the first thing you should do, right? Isn't that true?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about that one?
Well, first of all, don't be one of those guys that just clicks on a link or clicks on an email. Don't even open the email if it doesn't look good. Inform your IT. Let them know what's going on.
You know what? Actually, your IT department or your cybersecurity department, if you're in a bigger company, they will be happy that you contact them, just in case, to make sure that something is good. They won't be like, oh, like, geez, he's sending me an email, he's calling me, what the heck? No. They'll be like, yeah, awesome, man. You're contacting the IT department just in case, because you want to make sure that you're safe, and we love you for that. So as an IT person, right? So I definitely recommend you to contact your IT department as soon as you see something fishy going on your computer. If you see programs kind of like appearing out of nowhere, that's a telltale sign, right? Or if you see an attachment and you think, well, like the CEO is sending me to buy, cards from Walmart, gift cards. I don't think that's appropriate. So, like any type of warning, like, we have sixth sense. Every human does. We have this gut feeling, right?
It feels wrong.
Make sure if it feels wrong, it is wrong. So, and when in doubt, contact your IT department.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it's I mean it's good to know that something's wrong, and but it's good still to contact your IT department instead of just deleting it and getting rid of it because it got through their defenses. There are email defenses that should be stopping stuff like that, and they need to know that so that they can improve their
Yes,
defenses.
For sure. And you know what?
exactly.
It's not just about your. I mean, not everybody out there who's going to be watching has an IT department or works for an organization that has an IT department. So, but if things like this are happening from home, reach out to an organization like Rhino, and we'll help you out. Or reach out to an IT or an MSP out there that basically could help you. There's a lot of services out there that will be able to. You can pick up the phone, and they have the expertise. And yeah, it may
Yes,
cost you a couple $100 or whatever to get protected, or at least be informed. But at least instead of guessing. And then also, the alternative is it's something you don't want to deal with. So definitely call the
exactly.
experts.
Or contact us, and then we'll guide you through the process, right? So we got lots of partners, and we can definitely guide you through the process on getting the best MSP for your business.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So what else? Do we have
Let's go.
questions?
We have questions for sure. Let's do one more. Let's do one more tip to get us halfway through, and then we'll go to the question. Go to a question. Let's do number 5.
Number 5.
Oh, this
Awareness
is
training.
nothing is more important than this. In all fairness, you know what? There is multiple layers of cybersecurity, multiple concerns, multiple conversations, multiple software and technology. But awareness training is probably the most important thing anybody can do. And that's part of this show right now. This is all about being aware, right? Awareness training is critical. So you obviously see my passion about it.
I
Guys,
know. Wow.
what are
I'm
your thoughts?
impressed. I'm
What are your
impressed, man.
thoughts?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because some clients they've just got a bunch of machines in the field, not touched by humans, and obviously awareness training is not for them. But the human is always the weakest component. Most machines are not going to just sort of make a mistake and do something dumb, but the human is the one that's going to click on a link or go to a
Mhm.
web page that they shouldn't be going to, and that's how you might have all the best you know the human immune system. Think about that for a second. So you've got
Wow. You're
this.
getting medical in there.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got this amazingly designed immune system. It's got all its, it's got its B cells and T cells and antibodies and plasma blasts and everything else that all work together to protect your body from viruses. But if you decide to do something really stupid, maybe you're gonna, go for a bicycle ride and go off this huge jump, and you then
Hey,
crash.
hey. Oh man, that's
that happened to Dan last year.
Then
that's a really low blow, buddy. Thanks,
That's a
thanks so
sore
much.
spot, eh, Dan?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but your
By
immune
the way,
system.
just for the people that don't know, on May of this year, I did exactly what Andrew was saying. I went on my mountain bike down a hill, a bit too fast, and I broke my clavicle. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
stupid. I know.
And your immune system could do nothing to help you in that situation. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so the human and the human's decisions, that's the weakest part of cybersecurity. And that's why, especially when you have a lot of different employees that don't have a lot of, all IT or security knowledge, it's very important to help them, teach them the right way to do things.
Exactly, especially when you're working. I mean, this entire show is about working from home, right? So you don't have anybody right beside you. You can't go like, Peter, the IT guy, can you help me with this? You're like, okay, how do I do this? Like, so if you're
You
not
mean
contacting your IT,
if
sorry,
I was with you on the bike ride, Dan, and I could have said over to you, said, Dan, are you crazy? You can't do that. You would have listened, maybe. So just
you
like
would
the
have
IT.
stopped me.
That's right.
Absolutely, because you know what the problem is. Like, I'm a pretty good writer, but it was getting dark, and as you can see, I wear glasses. I wasn't wearing glasses either, so yeah, shame on
Yeah,
me, man. Shame on me.
I would have advised you to
So
not do that.
awareness training, so very important. It's
Absolutely,
crucial, right? So you need to know
And
what you're doing.
there's a lot of good providers for that. I mean,
hundred
obviously we
percent,
can help you, but there's a make sure you do something.
I know a
absolutely.
great provider that does that for you. Rhino
See?
Cybersecurity.
There you go. There's a plug for
Call
us
them.
again. There you go. Absolutely call
I'd
us.
be
Call
happy to
them
talk to
today.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Gladstone. Let's get a question in here, one or two,
Yes. Yes.
please, and thank you, sir.
All right.
Here we go. This is from Tamara. Should I turn off my Wi-Fi network when no one is home?
I like that idea.
Wow, that's I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. So every half decent router on your home, your modem, right? Personally, I'm not really fond of um, the the routers that Bell or Rogers send you, these little packaged routers. I have my own like my own network at home with routers and switches and all of that stuff, firewalls. However, there is a function on the portal where you can put hours, you can create different networks and you can limit hours, right? So you can actually limit the amount of time that you are on Wi-Fi. Let's say from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then overnight is just sleeping. I think that's and it does it automatically for you, right? But turning off your Wi-Fi network when you're not home is like turning off the lights. But then to get it back up and running again, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But that might be very overkill. What I recommend is other ways of doing that. So, and those are more advanced ways. If you're like really paranoid about, getting your data stolen because you are working and you have really important data that you're dealing with, there's other methods that you can protect. So what I do at home is I everything that has to do with Rhino cybersecurity and the work that I do is routed through a private server. And basically, there's a tunnel in there, and then everything else that is the family and what have you, people that are coming in, it's on another network. So I isolate instead of turning off the Wi-Fi. I think that's a really good question. So should you? It really depends. It really depends on the data that you're holding, right?
Andrew, you want to read that one out?
Yeah. Hey guys, how can I prevent my Wi-Fi from being stolen by a hacker neighbor? There's some pretty good tools.
A hacker neighbor.
Yeah, if you know the neighbor, go knock on his door.
You should say, stop hacking me.
Yeah, but a lot of the things we've already been talking about. Use proper authentication for your Wi-Fi. Don't just leave the same. Like if it looks like people are connecting, change up the password. It's not that difficult. A lot of this stuff is pretty simple. Cybersecurity in a lot of ways is not difficult to understand.
Yeah, we have one of the points is actually how to secure your router. But I can tell you right off the bat, don't put a silly password on your router, right? Because if it's very guessable, then people are going to get into it, or you might have a neighbor that is piggybacking on your stuff, right? So make sure it's long and complex, the passwords. And if you're having problems, because it is a pain in the butt, especially when you're setting up printers and you're connecting printers, it is very difficult to put a really long password on them.
If you have a neighbor that is a hacker, don't name your password like your dog. So you're in the backyard calling whatever your dog's name is, and they're going to use it as to get into your network.
Yeah. The other thing is to watch for when you're logging into your Wi-Fi network. If you have to put in the credentials, take a quick look. Are there two Wi-Fi networks with the same name? Because then somebody might be like using the same name as your Wi-Fi network, trying to trick you to log into that. And then as you're trying to log into it, they're collecting your credentials.
Right. Just like the Starbucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's called drive-by hacking, right? It's somebody sitting on the side of the road on his car, trying to see if he can hack. And it's usually used for CEOs and high level executive to try to get into the networks. It's very uncommon though. However, those are things that you can do to protect your router. But we will talk about that a little more in depth in another pro tip that we have for you. Perfect. Felix.
Thanks, Felix.
All right.
Number 6, Gladstone.
We're just talking.
Passwords. Can we, obviously that's a major thing.
I think two things here that I'd say. One is if you're creating your passwords, just make them like use numbers and letters and capitals and symbols. But better yet, use a password management system. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
I was going to say we had a guest.
Yeah, that's right.
Who cannot afford $4 a month for or $3 a month for a password manager, which comes with an app and everything, right? So you're better off protected. And like when you're creating long and complex passwords, of course, um, you're never going to remember them, right? So Andrew, I got a question for you. Trivia. Trivia here. What is more important, complexity or length of the password?
Length.
Sorry to put you on the spot, buddy.
Length. I'd
Are
go
You
you,
with
got
are you,
10
length.
which
seconds.
Andrew you're talking to?
Both of you.
All
I'm
right,
saying length.
length. You need to have a long password.
At least 16
Dun,
characters.
dun, 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 dun. Absolutely. Length is more important than complexity. If you have a short password, let's say five characters, but it's very complex. You have lots of you have a capital or and small letters and then a number, and then you have symbols in just a five character password. And then you have a really long, let's say 40 characters, and it's just a phrase, like my dog ate my breakfast with a couple of symbols and stuff like that. That long password is way more efficient than that little complex password.
That's McGill's question right here. So it's perfect. It was perfect timing, actually.
Oh, really? What's the question?
Is it better to have a long password or a short password that contains combination of numbers, special characters, everything we're talking about? So there you go,
Wow.
Miguel. It was perfect timing. Well placed,
We're
Gladstone.
we're in sync, Miguel. We're in tune. Yeah. So what is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is having a password that is at least 10 to 11, 12 characters long, and it is complex. That's the best you can do, right? Like you can like the minimum requirements. Anything less than that, and then you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
And anything longer, you might have problems remembering. So get a password manager for you.
Yep, absolutely. So that's
All right.
I think everybody knows about passwords and the length and how important it is at this point.
I know. And plus the dual authentication that makes it even better.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Who's gonna hack you? Nobody. Right?
And number 7.
All right.
Dan,
What is this?
Secure your Wi-Fi network.
Yes. So what do we mean by securing your Wi-Fi network? Let's talk about the router. What are the different encryptions methods that you can secure your Wi-Fi network with? Do you know?
You can do WAP2, you can do WEP, but you can have, outdated ones. The long and the short of it for you to know at home is you can have outdated ones that are not secure, or you can have far more secure ones that don't have all the known vulnerabilities that
Yes.
the old ones have.
Yeah, let's talk about the two main ones. And I don't know why routers still come with this method. There's one called WEP and WPA, and there's another one called WPA2 version 2. WEP is it's free. You don't have to put a password in there, so it's just open, right? And this used to be back in the days, 1990s when routers were just the internet was just starting to get developed, and then they changed it to WPA, right? Because they needed a password in there, but then it was hacked very easily. So then they changed it to WPA2. So sometimes it's called personal, right? So use WPA2 personal all the time, right? That one is the most secure nowadays. In terms of what Andrews is describing, the algorithm and actually the encryption, make sure you get a router that's newer. If you have a router that's old, it usually comes with a different type of encryption that is older and it might be hacked. But if you get something that is fairly new, it already comes with a newer type of encryption for WPA2, right? So how do you tell if something is new or old? Well, if it's already 5 years old, then it's kind of old. So just go to the store and get something new. Or you can actually go to Rogers or Bell and just request a new one. You can easily exchange a router for yourself. So that's kind of like the main key. WPA2 personal. Does that make sense?
So it does actually. You know what this is? It's speaking about routers and stuff right here. We have a question from Tamara that kind of could tie into this a little bit. I read that a
Wow.
location of a router in my house may have an impact on security. Is that true?
It has an impact on security and performance, right?
I was going to say performance, definitely.
Wow, what a good question. What a good question.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you mount the router on the outside of the house, that's not very secure.
If you mount it on the pole, kind of like next door between the, next door and neighbor and the street, is not very secure, right? So that
Your mailbox, no, not on the outside of your mailbox either. You shouldn't have it connected there. It's not a good place.
no,
No,
not
okay.
really. So, and this is why I like having my own infrastructure, because if you get those Soho routers from Bell, or
Hmm.
single office routers from Bell, they don't have this capability, but you can actually select the range of the Wi-Fi signal, and that's what I have at home, right? So I have a mesh with using Unify mesh, right? And I have a range on my Wi-Fi. So if you go to outside of the house, like on the street or level, like, or the sidewalk, you can read my signal from. So I constrain that, right? So that's a very good question. If like, people would have to be very close to my house to be able to hack into my network, right? Although there's tools that you can use, that hackers use, that, for example, really long antennas, unidirectional antennas, where you can actually be at a kilometer away and be able to track a Wi-Fi. But these are, very extreme cases.
Tamara, we were totally joking with you, Tamara. We know you were inside the house. Yes, I'm talking inside the house, guys. We were just having fun with you. Absolutely, we know you meant inside the house.
Excellent question, though. Excellent
Absolutely.
question.
Definitely.
All right. Any other questions? Or should we move on to the next one? We still have quite a bit of time. We had 20 minutes, so.
Me too.
All right.
Here we go. Andrew, you want to take this one? You can feel this one if you want.
Hey
Or
guys,
read it.
according to you, what would be the proper email security practices? Use Proton Mail.
Okay. We have actually, one of the pro tips is about email security. So that, if you hang on to that question, let's get to it. And then maybe, Andrew, you can answer that question for her.
Okay.
Let's go to the next question. There you go. Okay, now you can answer that.
Yeah, perfect. Good use of email.
Man, the audience is just totally in sync with us today. We love you guys. We do. And thank you for, sending the shout outs. Thank you for answering the questions. We are so happy. And you know what? Our team is also part of this TED Talk. So, Tech Lounge. And we really appreciate what you do. So, all of our staff, it's usually, ask really good questions, and they get to learn pretty good stuff from securing themselves at home as well, right? So, all right. So what's the question again?
Just as important as it is for you to secure your employees at home, it's just as important for us to secure our employees at home.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
all
right.
So
proper email security practices. I'll just go through a couple, and then Dan,
Yes.
you can pick it up from there. But you want to make sure that at the back end, within Office 365 or G Suite, you've got the security configuration set up so that they're optimum for you. You want to, obviously, some of the things we've talked about. Don't click on links. Don't open attachments.
Yes. Attachments, links.
Yep. And I mean, another one is use, depending on how critical. Like, some of our clients have extremely critical information. They've got personally identifiable information. They've got huge financial trades or information that they don't want anybody to see at all. So they won't even use your regular email, Gmail, Microsoft. They'll want to use Proton Mail. That's completely encrypted, is not owned by a company that we already know is using their technology in a lot of ways to sell data. Or just get off of email entirely for some of that real critical information.
Yeah, but you know what? I know Proton Mail. It is a good choice. But if you're a 365 shop or G Suite shop, sometimes you don't have that ability, right? So, but did you know that Outlook comes with a really nifty encryption method for it's so it's like a PGP, pretty good encryption, pretty good. I forgot the name of it. Pretty good
Privacy.
privacy, pretty good privacy. There you go.
Yeah.
It encrypts your emails for you automatically, so you just click on it and it encrypts them. But of course, the other person, the recipients, need to have the key to be able to decrypt that, right? Because the message comes encrypted. So, but it's not very hard to actually create encryption, send it to the receivers, and then send information in an encrypted way using your Outlook. I don't know if G Suite has it yet. I haven't seen it, but definitely Outlook has it now. So if you're a 365 Microsoft shop, then definitely you can use that tool, right? So, but links are so important. If this is where the whole cybersecurity awareness training comes in, right? So being able to detect who's sending you the email, don't click on those pesky links that they look weird. You can always hover over the link because sometimes they fake the title of the link, but it's a different link, right? The hyperlink is different, so you can hover over them to see the downloads. Absolutely, downloads. Oh my god, like sometimes you get an email with a Word document, and if you don't have it can bypass your antivirus. Absolutely, because it has a macro, right? And nowadays, everything that you get in terms of Word documents, Excel sheets, in order to be able to enter it, Microsoft puts a big banner saying that if it contains macros, do not open this, or if you want to enable the edit of that document. So I think those are very important things to be aware of, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Next one.
Perfect. What number are we? 7, 8, 9? Or on number 9?
Nice.
Yeah, so we're almost there. See, you were speeding us up, Andrew, and we have so much time.
No, that's great. We'll be able to just talk about some of the other security-related issues, stories,
Absolutely.
whatever.
Absolutely. What's the next one?
It's a good use of applications.
Yes. All right. This one is a very important one. So, what we mean by applications is, like your applications that you log in and you can leave them open, right? They have a security token, for example, and this happens a lot. And my wife does it, and I just don't like it. I tell her every time, don't do this. What she does is she opens a whole bunch of tabs on your browser, and she goes to the different applications, right? And then they're open, but she doesn't log out of the applications. She just leaves the computer on, and then just closes the computer and goes, away, and then comes back next day, opens the computer, and then the applications are there, right? So that's very easy for a hacker to just, oh, look, she left that application open. Let me just see what she's doing and then get into it. So sometimes what happens is those applications don't have an auto locking mechanism after the password doesn't expire, or the login doesn't expire after minutes, right? It just stays open, right? So which is really bad from the developer. That's not a really good practice for development of software. But log out, click on log out, and so you have that application.
I think it's really
locked.
important that Gladstone, you put up. Tamara just posted something. I think you should post that. I think you should put that up so everybody can see. So that way, there you go, Dan. That's just for you. Guilty as charged. So you're not going to get in trouble when you get home. She agrees.
Yes. So make sure you log out of all your applications, except for the ones that are embedded into your desktop, right? So like your Outlook, you can log out, and it's a pain in the butt to having to log in. But if you can, then just do it. All right. So anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's perfect. We're on number 10, but do we have a question before we get to
yes,
drum roll?
More question, guys. Go ask questions. We're here to answer all of your questions.
I've got a question. Maybe it's going to be covered in the next one. I'm not sure.
Uh-oh.
But
I'm afraid of your questions, Andrew.
Yeah.
Hold on to your
Yeah.
hat, Stan.
I'm guessing actually that it's going to be related to the next one because we haven't talked about VPNs as a question yet. But how often, like in what situations would you suggest that a client use a virtual private server or like a part of that multi-factor authentication where they've got a hardware device authenticator, so it's not even in your phone. But in what situations would you suggest a client use a virtual private server to have their clients access
Yes.
their network?
Yeah. So
What's
number 10 is actually,
number
Andrews,
10?
just so you know, is use a VPN for number 10, right? It is. Okay, so let's talk about the two types of VPNs. Okay, so the first type of VPN is the one that you just hire out of a company in the web. So Proton VPN or NordVPN or there's a whole whack of them out there. And those are just to protect your data in movement. So basically, your data being streamed to other places like servers and Google and stuff like that. The way they do it is they just have different IP addresses. They give you an IP address that belongs to, let's say, a server in United States. So it's not actually your IP address, right? And they encrypt the data. So you can use that in a daily, every day when you go to a coffee shop and just to be a bit more secure. The other type of VPN, and I think this is the one that Andrew's talking about, is the one that in order to access your computer network at the office, right? So internal resources, let's say ERPs or like a CRM or like your VPN, etc. To access those resources, IT gives you a VPN. You need to connect to that VPN, or else you won't be able to access that resource, right? So that's the second type of VPN, and that one is given to you by your cybersecurity company or your IT company. If you're a small company, then you need to reach out to get that installed, right? So it's not like an everyday security thing from home, right? So it requires setting up a server right inside of the office to be able to do that kind of stuff, right? Now, the use of VPS, so a virtual private server as opposed to a virtual private network, even though they look similar,
I'm just
they do
going
the
to
same.
jump in here, Dan.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
VPNs, uh, you need to make sure you don't just go out there and get the first free VPN that you
Yes.
see, because it has happened in the past where um, people who people will put out a VPN for you to use, but then they'll actually use that as a tool against you, so that they get access to whatever it is that
Yes.
you're trying to send. So,
Good.
I mean, it's just like again that healthcare example. Don't
Yes.
just take any kind of medication because some of it's not actually good for you. Um,
You're all into medical today.
Yeah, I know. I've just been thinking about it recently. But yeah, so the same thing with VPNs or any other security tool. Do your research, find ones
Yes.
that are established, ones that are consistently known to be good, and use that. It might cost something, but it's worthwhile.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, hackers in as ethical hackers, we do it as well. We use VPNs that are accessible to us that are for completely free, but they are for like hacking purposes, right? So be careful. Be careful what tool you use. Absolutely, make sure you do your homework and actually do research and compare all the VPNs are there. There's some prominent ones, like as I said, Proton VPN, NordVPN are one of the most common
Yeah, and
out
if
there,
you want to
right?
set it up properly and you don't have the IT staff yourself, I mean, give us a call. We'll help you set that up.
Absolutely. But the difference between a VPS, so let me get into the VPS VPN. VPN is for accessing the resources inside of the company, on-prem, inside of the network. A VPS is basically the same thing for a company that does not have an internal physical network with servers and stuff. All their servers are in the cloud. So using Azure Cloud or AWS or what have you. So they have the ERP, the CRM instead of having it being served inside of a server. inside the office, the headquarters, right, in the server room. They have it in the cloud. So it's just exactly actually acts the same way for accessing cloud applications. So that's basically the difference, right?
Nice.
In a secure way. They're both secure, right? So encryption, end-to-end encryption. That was a good question, Andrew. Maybe a little more advanced for this topic, but it's very good question. So
Absolutely.
number 10, use of a virtual private network, VPN. Absolutely. Any more questions?
I've got a question for you, Dan.
Oh no.
What makes
Okay.
you passionate about cybersecurity?
Oh, me. Thanks, man. Thanks that you ask. Lots of things. The first one is I love hacking. I'm an ethical hacker. This is kind of like one of my passions. So whenever we get a pen test or a vulnerability assessment, I go, okay, let's see how we're gonna get into this network and or servers, etc. So doing anything that has to do with ethical hacking and penetration testing, that's something that I really really enjoy. And networking, computers. I love computers. I've been a nerd since I was born, basically, right? So I remember being 10 years old and playing with an Atari and coding little programs into my Atari system, my console to play and stuff like that. So yeah, computers.
Nice. Yeah.
How about you, Andrew?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like I see it as I'm very black and white. There's good and there's evil. There's immoral people who are out there and they're trying to get into your network, get access to your data, and they're just there to steal and to destroy and to hold you for
Yeah.
ransom. And I like to be on the good side, fighting against those, helping protect people from those immoral, evil hackers.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a mission, a vocation for me as well in terms of protecting people. I love, I love working with not just companies but in an individual basis, and it saddens me. It really saddens me when I see, for example, an older person, uh, and they get hacked, and then they give hackers, $10,000 out of their savings, and it's just, it shatters me, and it strikes a chord with me. Yeah, like those
Yeah.
things should not happen. So anytime we can help individuals, not just organizations, we are there for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a
And
couple of questions.
we
Gladson
do.
says.
Yeah.
Can you read it up?
Yeah, here we go. There may be access problems when using VPN and firewalls at the same time, or will it increase security levels?
It will increase security levels. It's not an alternative for the other. You need to have a firewall and a VPN
VPN.
installed. And if you're having problems because of proxies and things like that, then have your IT department or a competent party do the configuration properly for you. That's just configuration issues, right? So if they know what they're doing, they will be able to you will be able to have both the VPN and the firewall, right? You can't disconnect the firewall. There's no way, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the first line of defense, and the VPN plugs into it. So yeah, very good question. It definitely 100% increases your security if you use both.
And I just want to make a quick comment on that as well.
Mhm.
A lot of firewalls come with VPN capability within them, site-to-site VPN capabilities. That can be good depending on the situation, but if the firewall, and we always see firewall vulnerabilities come up where people can get in, remote control of those firewalls.
Yeah.
So in that case, that's where it's good to have, again, the multiple layers of security that are independent of each other.
I
That
hate
way, go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know why they do that. These companies, oh, we're going to put a feature. You can actually create your own VPN inside of the router. No. Don't do that. Turn it off. Get a server.
Yeah.
Get a server and or have your server, like running a VM, a virtual machine with a VPN server in there, right? So separate it from your firewall, right? So very good point, Andrew. Absolutely. And I mean, these are more advanced questions, right? Obviously, but we're very happy to answer them for you. So if you need help with these type of stuff, that's what we do at Rhino Cybersecurity, right? So absolutely. Next question, Boris. You're on fire, Boris.
Andrew, you want to go ahead and read this one out?
Let's see if I can see it here. Yeah, we've got, how can I separate work and personal devices on the same network? Is it possible? For sure. You can just, like, I like to set up a separate router and a separate physical network if I can. But you can also use what's called a VLAN, just a virtual local area network, and you can also separate out your Wi-Fi.
Yes. So that's a really good question. Maybe it's a little more advanced, but it is actually good. A good question. So the way these Soho routers that you get from the ISP, they're that's why I don't like them, because they're not very flexible, right? So what I did is I got a secure router, a security gateway, right? And what I did is at home, for example, I separated two different IP addresses, completely separated LANs. So no VLANs, LANs, right? So one of them could be a 192.168.0.1, for example, and then the other one could be completely separate. So like 10.10.10, something else. So it's two different IP addresses. So then they don't talk to each other. So in one of them, you can use it securely for your stuff from work, and the other one just leave it for the home use. And from that LAN, then you create your Wi-Fi. You put your router in there, your Wi-Fi router in there, and then give Wi-Fi to the other people, right? So you can definitely separate. It's not very hard to do. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos that you can take and do this. So just make sure you get a good router, router. They're not very expensive either, right? So you can get a good router for a couple of $100s, right? So Unify, Grace, like the Edge. Unify, it's a really good router, very inexpensive, and does the job for you, right?
Perfect. Guys,
Good.
just so we're at the top of the hour now. So do we have the final
bonus? Oh my gosh, we're over.
Answer? We're actually over. Was there a bonus answer, a bonus question, or a bonus tip?
We have a bonus pro tip. Gladstone, what is it? There it is. Hire Rhino Cybersecurity.
There you go.
Number 11 for you. If you have any questions, if you need help, IT, cybersecurity, give us a shout and we'll happily help you, right? Absolutely, so visit rhino.io. And thank you so much. We're over the hour. Amazing, amazing show. Thank you for the shout outs. Thank you for the questions, guys. We love you. Next week is a very important show. It's B-Wire Technologies Halloween special with Andrew Somerton, Gladstone Amasapor, a.k.a. G Money. And yours truly, Dan Durant. Tell us, Andrew Somerton, what are we going to do next show? What do we have that's so special?
You know what? The topic is going to be kind of, all over the place, and we're going to kind of top on certain specific things. But the exciting part is going to be a Halloween costume contest. So Dan, myself, and Gladstone will be dressing up, and you, the audience, will be judging us on our uniqueness, the scary aspect, all the different factors of it. So really, really looking forward to having you there, and we're really looking forward to getting all done up.
Yeah, this is funny because Andrew was telling me that he was going to go to the dollar store to buy some stuff. And I'm like, dollar store, buddy? No way, man. I'm spending the money on it, right? So I'm going to blow you out of the water. And I know Gladstone,
I don't know.
I think somebody's going to be coming with, a rhinoceros costume.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
That's good. That's good. All right.
So much, Andrew. Thank you personally. I just want to thank you so much for joining us. Your insightfulness and your passion to cybersecurity certainly reflects in how you came across today, and I'm sure the audience learned a lot from it. So thanks so much. Hopefully we'll have you out again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. And remember, we're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube every Friday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you next week. See you, everybody. Woohoo!
Bye, everybody.